Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Fettham and today I'm joined by Luke Alexander, President, CEO and Director of Newcore Gold. Luke, it's great to see you today.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, James.
So if we could kick things off with a bit of the backstory for Newcore Gold, can you give us the elevator pitch?
Yeah, so Newcore Gold, we're advancing the Enchi project in Ghana. It's a district-scale exploration project that's fundamentally underpinned by very robust economics from a PEA, preliminary economic assessment, that we put out last week, which outlined very robust economics for a simple, straightforward heap leach project. And we can get into a bit of the detail, but district-scale exploration fundamentally underpinned by a robust economic study and backed by a management team who are truly aligned with shareholders. So we own 22% of Newcore management and board, and that's money that we've invested alongside shareholders.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I mean, let's talk about that PEA. You put it out just last week. Sort of great share price rise on the back of it. Lots of interest in the story. What are some of the key facts people need to know?
Yeah, so we saw a nice reaction in the market, stock up about 60% on the back of the PEA that we put out on good volume. We see that as just the start from a re-rating perspective. When you look at the economics of the project at an $1,850 gold price, which is the base case that we used for the PEA, we've got an after-tax NPV of $371 million. That compares to a stock price or a market cap today of roughly 45 million US. So we see a big opportunity for the stock to re-rate as people start to price in the value of the project that we've got. From a production perspective, we outlined 122,000 ounces of production. And one of the things that really helps is the low capital required to build the project. So those are some of the economics.
Okay, great. And obviously a lot of work to go into updating the PEA. Can you tell us about some of the work that's been done over the years and the de-risking that has contributed to this updated assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. So we included an additional 34,000 meters of drilling into an updated resource that we put out last year. So we outlined a larger overall resource, but it's also important to highlight that we moved 740,000 ounces into the indicated category. We then got another 970 in the inferred. So obviously indicated ounces have been further de-risked with tighter drill spacing. We've also completed a lot of metallurgical test work to see what the recoveries are for the material that we've got at our Enchi project. We put 82% recoveries in the study, and that's backed by hundreds of bottle roll and over 20 column tests and 2 bulk samples. We've also completed a social and environmental baseline study. That's one of the key things that's required to move forward with a mining lease. So all that de-risking work has obviously been now incorporated into the PEA that we've completed.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. I guess you mentioned that some of the licenses there or some of the studies that you had done, are those unique to Ghana, or how is it operating in Ghana more generally as a mining jurisdiction?
Yeah, so Ghana is a great jurisdiction to operate in, but what we always say is don't listen to me. I'm a single asset company who's obviously biased by that fact. But look at the major companies who are operating in Ghana. You've got 3 of the top 10 largest gold producer, Newmont being the biggest gold producer on the planet. They're investing another $1 billion into Ghana. So I think that highlights what a great jurisdiction it is. There's a huge amount of support from the government. They want to see projects built. It's important for taxes. It's important for the economy. It's very politically stable, as well as from a security perspective. You don't get some of the security concerns that you get in other jurisdictions. So we're very fortunate that we were able to amass such a large land package when we did, given it is such a desirable place to be operating.
Yeah, so you acquired the land package. Over the last few years, now that we're in 2024, gold price is starting to move a little bit. Equities, a little slower off the mark. How does this position you, in the current gold market? Does that affect the economics of the project? When do you think Enchi is well set up?
So if you look at the numbers we put out, the base case gold price that we used was an $1,850 gold price. If you look at where gold's trading today, around 2350, let's use 2350 gold price. When you look at the economics of the project at those gold prices, we're looking at an after-tax NPV of $630 million, after-tax IRR of 92%, and just over a 1-year payback, a 1.1 year payback. So I would, challenge you and anyone watching this interview to go find a project that has those kind of economics that sit within a company that's trading at roughly $40 to $45 million US. So that's the big re-rating opportunity we see is as people start to price in how valuable this project is, we see that as a real catalyst for the company. So in this gold environment, the economics are just fantastic.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a re-rating of the stock. We're already seeing some movement, but we're in a market that doesn't always reward good news. You see people putting out drill results that are objectively good results and not making an impact in the market, even trading down on objectively good results. Why do you think that Newcore had the reaction that they did to last week's news?
I think a few things. I think a lot of investors in the market's been waiting for the updated study. Obviously, we've included 2024 pricing. So now all the concerns with inflation have disappeared. The consultant who led the study for us is a group called Lycopodium. They're the gold standard in West Africa, bringing multiple projects into production on time, under budget, on schedule. So they're a very credible firm for us to have worked with, and ultimately the economics of the project speak for themselves. So I think the market and investors are recognizing that this is a buildable project for Newcore to push forward, and the free cash flow that's generated from the production is obviously not being reflected in the stock today.
Okay, well, it sounds like there's still a lot of runway ahead of you. In terms of looking ahead through the rest of 2024, what can investors expect in terms of catalyst milestones, news?
Yeah, so we obviously just put this PEA out, so we'll spend some time meeting with our major investors, sitting down with our board, and coming up with a plan as to, okay, how do we take it from a PEA to a PFS? How many meters do we need to drill from an infill perspective? But also, we aren't going to lose focus on the fact that we've got a district scale exploration project. All of our deposits remain open along strike, so systematically stepping out and adding near surface ounces that can then flow into future mine plans, as well as the opportunity at depth is something we're really excited about as well. So we'll come up with some drilling to target some of those deeper high grade feeder zones that we've got on our project as well. So continuing to de-risk the project, but also obviously exploration is something that we're going to be focused on. And then moving it towards that PFS is something we'll be focused on for the balance of this year and into 2025.
Okay, fantastic. And you touched on exploration. Do you have a drill campaign planned for this year, or is that still in the work?
Yeah, it's in the works. So again, with this PEA coming out, we're going through in detail and coming up with what makes the most sense, and we'll get that out to the market when appropriate to highlight what our drill plan is. We are continuing to do met work across the project. Hydrological and geotech work is another thing that's crucial for de-risking the project. So those types of things that may not be as exciting from a market perspective, we're continuing to do in the background as well.
Okay, very well. Sounds like a very exciting year ahead, and already some big catalysts. Just to wrap up, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you think your viewers and the retail investor community should be aware of when they're looking at Newcore?
Yeah, so Newcore, again, backed by a management team who's truly aligned with shareholders through our 22% ownership in the business. My personal view is that there's a significant re-rating opportunity to come as the market starts to price in just how valuable the project that we've got is. We're backed by very deep-pocketed, long-term focused institutional investors, so 45% owned by institutional investors who have the opportunity to invest in any project out there, and they see the tremendous upside that we've got at our Enchi project. So those would be a few things I'd add to what we've already talked about.
Okay. Well, Luke, great to hear about Newcore Gold. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.